Hi folks, this is Don Schaefer and this is video blog number 36. We're working our way up to 100 video blogs and I'm excited to be with you today. I know hopefully everything is going well with you. I hope that your life is where it needs to be, that you've been adding understanding and knowledge to the things that we've been talking about. Because this week I wanted to talk a little bit about how to allow your attitude to become your alloy. And I know through the past we've talked about various different areas as far as if you can believe you can succeed. We talked about the fact that there's a difference between wishing and believing, and the fact that a lot of times people will wish that certain things will happen, but when you believe, there's an element of faith that's interjected into it, and what happens then is you start acting it out and start doing the areas that you're going after. So there's a difference in that. And we've talked a little bit about overcoming fear and developing confidence in your life. We talked about the element that, as far as overcoming fear, the fact that you have to put something into action, and that's where fear feeds itself by you not doing the things you need to do because you're afraid to do them. And throughout the course of time, you can go after example of individuals that overcome fear just by the fact that they did that which were afraid at one time to do. And we also talked about the element of excuses, the fact that a lot of times people live behind their excuses, and that's the reason they don't achieve areas in their life. And this whole series is about achieving everything you've always wanted in life. So we have to overcome some of this stuff. We have to get ourselves into a mindset that says, hey, you know what? I am not going to use excuses anymore. I'm going to get out and do something with my life. And last week we got into a subject which was interesting, and it was talking about you are what you think you are. Or as one person once said, you don't know who you are, but what you think you are, you are. You know, what's all that about? Well, you know, it's a basis of what's inside your mind. The way you think is basically the way your body produces who you are, and your actions and all of that. And I know we've talked a lot about the seed and the fact that what happens is you get thoughts, you get ideas, and that's where I'm hoping this is an idea for you too, because it becomes a process, you know, where you get a thought and an idea and it enters into the mind as a seed to be planted. You know, and if you can nurture that idea, what will eventually happen is you'll be putting something into action. You'll be doing something different. And that's where, if you want change in your life and you're not in a position to allow ideas to conceive themselves inside your mind, and not in a position where you can believe what you have heard, you aren't in a position to change. You know, and that's where a true believer is always seeing change in their life, because they're finding principles and they're trying to put good thoughts in their mind, because they realize that as a man thinketh, so is he. And therefore it's so important that we take the time to allow anything that is good, anything that's righteous, anything that's pure, all these elements, allow these to go into our mind, to hear these things, to read these things, to listen to people talk about whatever it might be in regards to these things, because what happens is it creates something inside you, and all of a sudden you start to see yourself in a better way. And now when we talk about attitudes, okay, your attitudes can become your alloy. You know what it is if you can develop the right attitude, you can allow people and situations in your life to find favor with you. That's where your attitude is so important, because it shows you who you are. And a lot of times in life, I know even myself, you know, I'll run into certain circumstances and stuff, and all of a sudden I say to myself, you know, Don, I really don't like your attitude. You need to change. Okay, yeah, you're absolutely right. There is something wrong in my life. So it becomes my alloy. It tells me, hey, Don, you know, you have to look at things a little bit differently. You know, and then when I get with people, you know, a lot of times you say, well, I can hide my attitude in my ways, but you really can't. You know, I look at people and I can tell basically what their attitudes are. You know, just have to be around them for a while. You can see how they handle situations, how they look at stuff, and how they talk, you know, and how they appear themselves. You can say, hey, you know, this person here really doesn't have too positive an attitude or an image of themselves. See, and that's where if we can change that around, because there is nothing I won't do for individuals who have the right attitude. You know, there isn't anything that I won't try to give them and help them in whatever circumstances it might be, because they've got the right attitude. And that's where it becomes your alloy. And that's where we want to encourage you this week to take a look at your attitude and see what it's doing for you. It can either be a friend or a foe. You know, when we develop it, we have the choice of what type of attitudes we want to acquire, because what we do is we feed our minds. We feed our minds with the proper stuff to feed that attitude, to allow us to develop the positive attitude that's going to get us everything we've always wanted in life. And I thank you once again for being with me, and I will see you again next week.